Good morning, good afternoon, good evening guys, wherever you are on this beautiful world, whenever you're watching this video, welcome to the Bitcoin family channel. For the newcomers, my name is Diddy. Yes, it's all about to be or not to be. These t-shirts I sell of course in our shop on thebitcoinfamily.com guys. In today's video, I have 5 amazing Bitcoin charts. I have a trading tip, a very important one. Yes, of course, a travel tip. Of course, we're talking about the news that there is another company that is outperforming all the other stocks in their country because of Bitcoin. Of course, answering one of the questions and ending with the inspirational quote. Let's quickly jump into the charts to show you if we fall back even lower below 70k or that we pump up above 70k to 80k. Let's quickly jump into the charts. Bam. The first chart for today, guys, is this 4-hour chart. When I told you yesterday, if these candles close down below the yellow step line, I will take some profits because probably it will fall a little bit lower. It did fall a little bit lower, and we're gonna just wait for another long signal to come. That will come when this green buy thing flashes over there, and then the candle needs to close above the yellow stepping line. And of course, all the people know that the white line needs to be turning up, the blue line needs to be above the white line, and on the bottom we need to see green instead of this yellowish and bluish area. So that will can take a little bit. Maybe we go sideways a little bit and build some more structure over here before we pull up another leg towards 80k. You never know, but 80k is still the play I think that we should be able to reach. If you zoom out on the daily, you can see, yes, we broke out of this pattern. Like I've said before, normally when we break out of patterns, sometimes, yes, we retest it before we even take off. That retest would then take us almost to 65k. It doesn't happen always, but mostly that's the moves that we see in Bitcoin. And it happens mostly because we run into a lot of resistance. And here, this level, their resistance, here resistance, their resistance, is again resistance over there. So that level is a very important level. And yeah, it will take a couple of pullbacks. But if we pull back too far, we pull back into that structure again. So now we need to retest that top of that structure to take off again and to really prove that we are bullish, bullish, bullish. Green line curling up again beautifully and will probably come above that blue line again, which also is way more positive. RSI, yes, topping in that 70 line, but we can go way higher, as you can see to the left. So sometimes we touch it, we come down, and then again we pull up and go higher, guys. Beautiful charts. On the weekly, same story. We touched that green line as a support line like we mostly do in the bull markets on the weekly, and again we did it. We found support in this darkish green line, that big one. That's the support line that comes from the previous bull market top. It was a lot of resistance. We tested that support, so also on the weekly we are ready to take off and go higher to those 80k levels. Here we can see that that dotted line on the bottom on the RSI was like support, then we broke through it, resistance, support, we broke through it. Now it could be resistance again. So yes, it doesn't mean we're going to make a bullish move directly. It can take 1 or 2 weeks, but there will again be a bullish move, guys. Now let's jump into some more interesting charts. This is the first one, the Bitcoin MVRV extreme deviation pricing bands. You can see over here all the price levels that are connected to these lines. That red line is the one that we are looking out for now. That red line at the moment is at 77,593 US dollar. So this is the target that we have now. We should be reaching this target, almost 78k. This orange line over here, 65,125, is just the same level that I just told you. That's the retest of that pattern, around 65, 66k. That is the line we could use as support. This is the line we need to use now as a target. Let's try to reach 77,500 US dollar and touch that beautiful red line over there again. If you ask me how this move could look in the future, then I really like this chart. I found this one also on Twitter. This is where we are at the moment with the move. Yes, we could go up again to 75k, fall down one more time like to the 65k level, just like I said, and then move all the way up above 100k, between 120 and 150. That is how it could play out. In my opinion, this maybe is a little bit too early because this would mean the top would be in 2025 February. I think the top will be after September 2025, September to like December 2025. I think that the top should be there, but no, I would be happy if we see 150k in February 2025 as well. Another chart that shows you the bigger picture is a 1 weekly chart We can see over there how much profits we make. This one was 10,500% in profit. This one was 3,000% in profit. This one was 700% in profit. Let's say we just do 200% in profit from this moment over here in the market. That would mean we would end easily between 120 and 160K, maybe even close to 200,000 US dollar per Bitcoin, because it would mean that we grow another 123,000 US dollar from where we are at the moment. And why from where we are at the moment? Because we every time do that same calculation, guys. And how do we calculate this? Very simple, guys. Every time from the halving, this was the halving over there. From that halving, 10,000%. From this halving, 2016, we went 3,000%. From the halving in 2020, we went 700%. Now the halving in 2024, if we only go times 190%, that would mean we would reach 180,000 US dollar per Bitcoin. So it's a very simple calculation. Yes, the profits are decreasing from that halving from 10,000 divided by almost 3 to 3,000, divided by almost 3 to 700. Let's divide that by 3 to 200. Yes, we will reach between 120 and 180,000 US dollar because of that diminishing return. Very simple. I know a lot of people say there is diminishing returns. I agree, but it doesn't mean we can't reach 150K. You can still double your capital by investing in Bitcoin today. I hope you really enjoyed those charts, guys. Yes, short-term, beautiful trade setup there. I do believe that we can reach 74.5K because there's a lot of short liquidations happening over there. And if we reach that level, then 80K should be in the picture as well, guys, which would be an amazing move. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen today or tomorrow. It can also happen next week. We can go sideways a little bit because we just had that push to 70K again, which was almost a 20% push. So we need to go sideways again to become stable, and then bam, we move again, just like Bitcoin always does. Long term, just like I've been saying all the time, we just surpassed the halving. It will take all the way till 17 months after the halving before we will see another Bitcoin bull market top, and the top is going to be above 100K in my honest opinion, between 120 and 160. I know many others are way more bullish than me, but I prefer just to be a little bit bearish. 120 to 160 is an amazing top. If we go higher, we will be more happy. If we don't go higher, we won't be that sad. That was the trading part for today, guys. Let's jump into the trading tip. The trading tip for today, guys, is a very simple one, but a very powerful one. Take your profits. It's very important to now and then take profits. Nobody ever got poorer of taking profits. Just put that in your brain cells. Sometimes it's time to take profit. You will always be back to enter another trade or to buy a shitload of more Bitcoins when the Bitcoin price dips. But it's very important in these financial markets, in asset markets, in stock markets, in all markets, to sometimes take profit. Nobody ever got poorer of taking profit. There will always be a new trade passing by. It's just like a train or a bus. There was always a new train, there is always a new bus. It's also with trading. There will always be another trade opportunity. So sometimes you just take profit, you're happy with your profit because you didn't get poorer of taking profit. You will get poorer if you forget to take profit and the price crashes again and you're like, ah, shit, I should have taken profit. And of course, I'm referring mostly now to all those altcoins and all those meme coins, because all those coins, they pump as hell, but there is a moment you need to take profits. Take your profits, be happy with your profits. They will crash, and when they crash, you're not the one crying, you're the one buying. You made your profits, you took your profits, and you're buying back that dip again. That's how it works. Take your profits. The travel tip for today, guys, a very old-fashioned one. Yes, last-minute bookings can still be cheaper, especially with things like a cruise ship or airplane flights. When they need to get fully booked, they will drop the ticket price at the end. Sometimes when you take a cruise ship, there's a website, I think, I will drop the link down below, I can't remember it anymore, but there's a website that if you look on the website, you will find all the last-minute cruise ship packages. So that means there's a cruise ship from whatever, Lisbon to America, and there is a lot of rooms available. They don't want to leave with a half-empty cruise ship because they need to pay the employees, they need to pay the food, so then it's better to sell the rest of the rooms in a cheaper price. So these last-minute sales are also there on airplane flights, are there on cruise ships, are there on bus tours, on everything else. Of course, their trick is to always create fear, to always tell you, hey, there is no tickets more available, and when the plane gets fuller and fuller, that the ticket price goes up tremendously, and then you are like, oh shit, I should book now because the prices are rising. But it's just like trading. Completely at the end, a couple of days before the flight leaves, the price will drop again because they want to fill up that airplane. It's very simple. Last minute tickets, hotel rooms, everything else still sometimes is cheaper than the rest. And it's the same with business class or any other class. If you book a normal flight ticket and you want to upgrade to business class, at the end mostly it's like a discount. It's not that expensive then to upgrade your normal ticket to business class, guys. So the travel tip for today is still look out for those beautiful deals, and if you're flexible and you don't care where you're sleeping, you don't care how you fly in, and you don't care how you get there, then of course you can choose out of a range of hotels, out of a range of flights, out of a range of everything else. And then of course everything becomes even more cheaper when you book it last minute. So travel tip for today, last minute still has some power. Answering one of the questions from the followers, the question was, Didi, don't you think that every time when you compare the charts of the past to make a prognosis for the future, that you're not considering the change now of all those spot ETFs? Of course, I agree with you. I don't calculate with spot ETFs because every and each bull cycle there was something new that I needed to consider. Like in the 2021 bull cycle, it was MicroStrategy, it was Tesla, it was the Chinese banning Bitcoin. I needed to consider all of that, but still Bitcoin went from 3K back all the way to 70K. So it's every time there is something happening, but it's only news. It doesn't influence the amount of demand. The demand will always grow and the supply will always decrease. Like the 2070 bull market, it was like the institutional investors may be onboarding. It was retail. It was like there was always something that will increase more volume. And now at this moment, yes, there's more volume being created by the spot ETFs, but that doesn't mean it will change the 4-year cycle. To me, it's always a 4-year cycle from halving to halving, and that will always happen again and again and again. And yes, there will maybe be a little bit more volume, which will push Bitcoin a little bit higher, but maybe because of that, there is also a dip, maybe a little bigger dip. Good morning. Some fans over there. No offense. It's my daughters. They just came back from sport and they are now going to be part of the video. They are full of energy. So yes, there will always be, look, there is the first one, Jolie. Good morning. They just came from sporting. How was sports?
Good. It was really good.
How was the sport club?
Good. And we could take the steps again.
And again, park them here without,
Yeah.
what, without a fine or with a fine?
No, without.
See you later. Take a shower and you can edit my videos. Beautiful, yes. So yes, there's always something in the market interfering, guys. And if it's now the spot ETFs or it was El Salvador joining Bitcoin, there's always something. But it has never led to a bigger push because of that. Because you need to remember that because all of those spot ETFs buying up those Bitcoins, probably a lot of retail won't be buying Bitcoins because the normal people, they're like, hey, but one Bitcoin is now 70K. I'm not going to buy one Bitcoin at 70K. And then when Bitcoin goes to 100K, they will be like, I can't pay 100K for a Bitcoin. Look, in the beginning, 3K to 10K, that was still affordable for a lot of retail people, a lot of normal people that were like, oh yeah, I can afford one Bitcoin, 3K to 10K. When we went to the 20K area, it was already more difficult, but then still the richer people, the middle class, yeah, I can pay one Bitcoin. Now we go to the 70K to 100K area. This is where not a lot of people are able to buy a full Bitcoin anymore in the world. So this means other people will need to replace that volume, and that's the spot ETF. So the spot ETFs are now replacing the volume that normally retail brings in. That's what I think, because a lot of people are very simple-minded. They're like, I want to own one Bitcoin. I don't want to buy 0.1 Bitcoin or 0.01 Bitcoin. That's nothing. I can't make profits. They don't think percentage-wise in profits. They think like in normal numbers in profits. So a lot of people now, they're like, no, I'm not going to buy 0.4 Bitcoin. That's nothing. I want to own one Bitcoin. Then I better don't buy. But the spot ETFs, they will buy. So the volume will always increase because of certain events, but will never be that huge that we lose the complete oversight of the 4-year cycle. In my opinion, it's just my opinion, 4-year cycle will always happen, same periods, same halving, same periods of the tops and same periods of the bear market bottom, but sometimes we might peak a little bit higher in price or dip a little bit lower or less low even if they hodl in price when it comes to that. That's the answer to the question. For the news for today, guys, we're going to talk about the Asian version of MicroStrategy. They announced on the 8th of April that they were doing the same strategy that MicroStrategy was doing, so they started to buy Bitcoins. By now, that company is called MetaPlanet, bought 117 Bitcoins, somewhere worth around 7.2 million US dollar at the moment. But that is not the value that they created. They just started. They started in April this year. Their stock price, though, has risen with 386% because of the move. They are the best performing Japanese asset on the whole stock exchange over there. They're outperforming all other stocks, all other assets, just because copying the MicroStrategy move, just because they exchange the reserve balance of their currencies into Bitcoin instead of holding them in Japanese yen. And why? Because the Japanese yen has fallen more than 30% against the dollar in this year. So their stock has risen with 386%. That while the Japanese yen has fallen with 34%, if you look at Bitcoin, it has increased with 190%. So their Bitcoin portfolio outperformed the Japanese yen. Then of course their stock completely outperformed the Japanese yen. And that is why these companies are doing this now, also in Japan. Because they understand that their fiat currencies, if it is the dollar or it's the euro or it's the Japanese yen, they are all inflationary. They will make you poorer. The more you have them, the poorer you get in the long term. You need to hedge your reserve capital into a store of value, into the gold of the 21st century. And that gold of the 21st century is Bitcoin. And more people, more and more companies, more and more governments, more and more countries are understanding that concept now of the digital gold of the 21st century. It is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the king when it comes to investment in assets. And this company now, MetaPlanet, understood this. They exchanged their reserve capital into Bitcoin. With that, their stock grew 386%. Their Bitcoin capital is also growing in value, and the Japanese yen is falling with 190% against Bitcoin. So they're outperforming the whole stock market in Japan just because of Bitcoin. You will see and hear this happening more and more in the future because more and more companies will start to adopt that Bitcoin strategy. Bitcoin is better than any other fiat currency. And then the inspirational part for today, guys. You cannot solve problems with the way of thinking that you came up with them. So when these problems happen in your life, you can't stay and think you will be able to solve them with the same way of thinking. You need to change your mindset. You need to change your way of thinking if you want to be able to solve an issue that happened because of the way you thought before. So it's very important to realize that all the issues and all the hurdles and all the problems in your life are probably a result of the way you thought. And to solve those issues, you need to start to think different to be able to change it. That's with everything in life. If you're running the hamster wheel continuously and it's making you more unhappy every year again, you need to change your mindset. You need to stop running. The moment you stop running, that hamster wheel will pause, you will be able to leave it, and you will be able to run in a different direction. It's all up to you. You need to determine if you really want to change. Your mind is way more powerful than you think it is. And to prove it, you need to now start acting. Whatever it is that you think, whatever it is that you need to change, the only way to be able to change it is to change yourself, to change your mindset, to change your way of doing, to change your way of responding to situations. Not to try and change that situation. That's almost impossible. That's one of those things that there is no control on. All of those external things, you don't have control on all of those external things. Those internal things, this moment, this day, that is what you can try to control. So if there is an issue that you want to solve, you will only be able to solve it with a new way of thinking or a new way of acting. So it's a very important quote. You cannot solve problems with the way of thinking that you came up with them. Change. Change. If there is one thing that is very important in my life, is change. Every time I change, I never stay the same. I keep changing, and I keep forcing myself to change, to grow, to become a better version of myself, because I want to change. I want to become better. I want to be able to give more to poor people. I want to be able to give more education to you guys. I want to be able to be a better performer. Everything else, I just want to become a better version of me. And I cannot do that by staying the same. I need to change. Change the way of thinking, change the way of acting, change the way of everything that I do in life to become that better version of me. Very important life quote, guys. Now, that was everything for today. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. What did you think about the charts? What do you think about all the tips? And what do you think about everything else? Yes, the light is much better over here than it is on the beach, but the beach is also fun. Let's see you tomorrow again. Bam.